Welcome everyone to our first in a series of webinar or LinkedIn events, however you want to call it. We're Mediasmart, and we promise to keep these webinar subject matter, focus on the subject matter rather than being all about us and things like that. We do believe that this is a good time for many marketers to reassess what they're doing and find their way after the lockdown. So I am Adrian Rubio. Rubio means blonde in Spanish. As you can see, I'm not very blonde. And Tiago Villaverde, he's Portuguese. Don't hold that against him. We are Mediasmart. We're an incrementality-based platform for user acquisition and growth. We're programmatic. We're connected to more than 30 ad exchanges in OpenRTV, in display, native video, and smart TV. Anything you would expect from a self-serve platform, plus our incrementality metrics and incrementality features. For those that are not very acquainted, we're not an ad network, we're not an agency, we're not an MMP, which is mobile measurement partner, but we do integrate with most of the major ones like AppFlyers, Coachava, Branch, etc. And we do integrate with our alpha solutions, which are key to incrementality, to have the full picture of incrementality. We're based in Madrid, I'm in New York, and we recently joined the Apple family. Apple is a company publicly traded in India with offices in Singapore and all over the place as well. So we're very happy to have joined the group. Today's session is smart mobile growth during and after COVID for app promotion. We're going to focus this one on app promotions, but we're going to be having more sessions on location-based campaigns and e-commerce and so forth. I think the next one is going to be location-based campaigns, but again, based on how to assess, how to address the challenges posed by COVID-19 and what are the best ways to go about it, in obviously our opinion on what we have learned. We're going to have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, and there's going to be a Slack channel that we share with you after that. So before I hand it over to my colleague Tiago, I'm going to share some data that many of you may have heard about when it comes to app usage during during the pandemic. So we see, this is Mediasmart, we see traffic in mobile 30% upwards in inventory. By the same token, eCPMs are down. It depends on the region and depends on the ad unit. But for example, in the US, batteries, is 28% down in price. Interstitial is 14% down. Rewarded video is 11%. We see performance advertisers, their spend is being stable while branding is significantly down. These numbers are taken from a report put out by Mopop, which is our partner as well. I'm happy to share it with you if you want to take a deeper look. So we've seen that there's some categories that show unprecedented growth, like teleconferencing, business, and business. We're all in Zoom now. And I think all of us have used Zoom more in the last 3 weeks than we've ever had in our lives. A lot of people didn't even know what House Party was, and there you go. And for other categories, just like such as games, it's also been a record-setting time. We see weekly downloads break records at 1.2 billion. That is 50% higher than average. And you see a lot of challengers in what we call lockdown categories that Tiago will cover, that they are spending on user acquisition and growth, mostly the challengers in those categories. App Store consumer spend hits a new record. And this situation, you don't need to tell you that, brings opportunity for some, and it would be a transformational time for others. But there are other unknowns. Will this spike or slump last, depending on the category that you are? And what are those current categories that will be challenged going forward, or would be an opportunity? And what apps will be launched in this new stay-at-home world. As you can see, there is a graphic there that I also took from App Annie, where it shows, the usage of business apps. Is this going to be a new normal? Is it going to be shift to work at home? To what degree? All these things we don't know yet. But what does this represent for user acquisition and growth? And this is where I hand it over to Tiago. I'll see you back after his very methodical and punctual talk, and we'll I'll see you in the Q&A. Thank you. So perfect. I now mute myself.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Adrian. So I'm Tiago, the head of analytics of Mediasmart, and hope before I start that everyone is okay, including our families during this time. And thank you for joining this session. So I'll be sharing with you some of the important learnings that we had from some app acquisition campaigns and some retargeting campaigns as well, and that those learnings can be critical, I hope, for some of you, to help you to be more effective during all this pandemic. So I'm going to share my screen to show you the slides. First, I'm going to pause the video for now because my internet connection has been a bit unstable, so we can better see the presentation. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, so a lot of app business, as you know, has been strongly affected by COVID, although in different ways. So some of them have seen a strong spike after lockdown, while some others have seen significant drops in their activity. So for the lucky ones that belong to sectors that have grown, that my colleague Adriana has already mentioned some of them, it is critical that they take this opportunity and they invest in a more efficient way possible, and not referring only to the user acquisition, but also in retargeting actions that they might have, and take advantage of all this situation and all of its potential. For the ones that are not getting the installs but belong to sectors that are growing a lot, I recommend that they invest, because it's like kind of a moment of now or never. If they are not, if you are not right now generating more conversions, what's happening probably is that your competitors are getting more market share. So you should do an effort to try to get as many users as possible. On the other hand, if you are not so lucky and your sector is suffering a bit more, it's probably the best time now for you to stop, to take advantage of this pause, to analyze all your data, and starting preparing your strategies. That as soon as this is over, that way you will be able to have the best results possible whenever possible. So before I go into details about how you can be efficient, let me just take 5 minutes to review some of the basic concepts of attribution, as it will help to understand the findings that I'll be sharing. So very quickly, attribution, as you know, it's a set of rules that are defined by the advertisers, and that the MMPs like AppsFlyer, like Adjust, Kochab, and others, they use to attribute in-app events to the different channels and partners of the advertiser. So the advertiser needs to define the attribution model, the type of attribution, the attribution windows. Normally what we see is that majority of advertisers, they tend to use the last click model, 7 days post click and 24 hours post impression. And the way that the MMP works, they basically what they do is to register all the device IDs that have seen or clicked on the ad. They also they store the device IDs of the people that convert. So I mean people that generate downloads or in-app events, and then they look up for a match between the ID that has converted and all of the IDs that have seen the impression or the click. And if there is a match, they attribute that conversion to the partner that has generated the impression or the click, or if not, that conversion is considered organic. So in this case, we have an example. So if 2 days ago on April 28th, if we have a click from partner A for the device ID ABC1, and yesterday we have an impression for the device ID ABC2 generated by the partner B, and today we have a conversion from the user ABC2. So to which channel is going the MMP to attribute a conversion from the user? So the attribution type, if the advertiser in this case is using post-click and post-view, the conversion is going to be attributed to partner B because he has generated an impression for this user. On the other hand, if the advertiser is not using post-click, is not using post-view and is using post-click only, it will be considered organic. And of course, this has a direct impact on the performance of partner B. So it's true that here we are just talking about one sale, which should not be relevant. But of course, many of you can have hundreds or in some cases thousands of conversions. And of course, that if you multiply this by those big numbers, it makes the difference a lot bigger, right? And by the way, every time I mention and I say partner, what I mean is that partner can be a DSP or can be an ad network. I'm not including here other giants like Facebook or Google, as they have their own rules of attribution. So I mean any DSP or ad network basically. Let's see a second example that shows us how attribution can be important. So let's imagine that last month you got $50,000 in sales and you have spent $30,000 in advertising, divided this way by 3 partners, A, B, and C. If you use the attribution model last click, you will see that partner A is the one that has the best ROI. So it's the one that is giving you the best results. But on the other hand, if you use an attribution model like the linear, that this model does not attribute the value of the conversion only to the last click, but distributes it equally among all of the partners that have generated impression or click, you will see that the best partner is partner C. So if you use one attribution model or another, your decision is going to be different, right? You are going to give more budget to partner A if you use the last click, and partner C if you use the linear model. Apart from this, the importance of attribution, it's also important to have in account that there are some imperfections. I mean, any model that's based in clicks, that is based in impressions, what it does is to incentivize that the partners generate the highest number of impressions and clicks that they can, and which actually makes sense, right? The more impressions and clicks that you serve, you should be reaching more users, so the more market share you can get, the more downloads, the more conversions, right? The problem is that it also incentivizes some tricks that some players out there are playing, like automatic clicks, like hidden ads, like click flooding. Well, I'm not going to enter in detail about this, as you know, we could be talking for one whole hour about all of these tricks, but by doing this, what they do is to increase, let's say it artificially, the possibility of having conversions attributed to them, because they have more clicks and they have more impressions. So what's the solution for this? So how can you make sure that the data that you are using to take decisions is reflecting for real the contribution of each channel? So the answer would be incremental metrics. So incremental metrics, we can say that are metrics that only count conversions that happen as a consequence of a campaign. So in other words, if there is no campaign, there will be no incremental conversions. While attribution is based on a coincidence between the ID of the user that converts and the IDs of the users that have seen or clicked on an ad, incremental metrics go a step further and only count the conversions that are a result of serving the ads. So the incremental metrics are based in the PLACERO methodology. Okay, I guess that some of you are familiar with it. So it's not a methodology that is applied only in our sector, but actually in many others, especially in the health industry. It consists in dividing a group of people in two. So basically, one of them is subject to a test, while the other is kept in normal conditions. For example, we have seen in the news in these past few days regarding COVID that in the UK there is a vaccine that is being tested to see if people that receive it become immune, right? So they are using also this method. And this placebo approach can also be applied in the advertising industry. So if we think about an example, let's say that we have a campaign for Emirates, okay, so which is an airline that everyone knows. So how can we, I mean, in this case, what we do is we divide the people in two groups as well. So one of the groups is going to see the ad from Emirates, and the other is going to see a charity ad, could be from UNICEF, as we have in this site. And then we can measure the number of impressions, clicks, and the outcomes also. I mean, the conversions, like downloads, like in this case, flight bookings. And we can compare results. So if you are asking how can we generate conversions with the UNICEF ad if it's not from Emirates, this is possible because people actually they do not need to see the ad to convert. Okay, so as I said, Emirates is a famous airline, so a user that sees the UNICEF ad can perfectly go directly to the page of Emirates and book a flight, right? Because they are going on holidays or whatever. So how does the MMP attributes the conversion to the ad of UNICEF? Well, that's basically is because the MMP does not check the content of the ad. So while everything that it does is to look for a match between a device ID that converted and a device ID that has seen or clicked on the ad, and that has, by consequence, that has triggered the impression pixel or the click URL of the campaign, wherever the ad is showing. It doesn't matter if it's an ad from Emirates, from UNICEF, or from any other thing. So basically, if you use the trackers of your MMP to serve ads that are not related to your brand, you can expect to have the MMP to attribute some downloads or in-app events to that ad because it's using the trackers from the campaign, and the MMP once again does not check the content. So it's something that you can expect to see on the results of the MMP. So in this case, we have seen that we got 10,000 clicks for the campaign of Emirates. I mean, for the part of for the group of people that have seen the ad of Emirates. So we had 500 flight bookings, conversion rate of 5%, while for the placebo we had a conversion rate of 1%. So what we can say is that the real conversion rate of the campaign is 4%, which is a difference between the two, right? So 1% of these guys that have converted from the guys that have seen the Emirates ad, they would buy the flight anyway. They did not buy the flight because they saw the ad. So from these 500 flight bookings, only 400 are incremental, right? And the other 100 will have happened even if no ads have been served. Okay, so this in this case it's a difference of 100 bookings. So if Emirates is using this data to see if it's worth to keep the activity of some of their partners, well, sometimes having 100 bookings of difference can be enough for a campaign to be profitable or not. So that's why it's very important to see the number of incremental conversions and not only the number of conversions that have been attributed to that channel. So to apply this methodology in an effective way, it's very important that you use an ad server. So what we see happening with many of our clients is that they share directly their creatives with the DSPs that they work with, right, and with all of the ad networks. But when you are doing this, if you are sharing your creatives directly, if you send them all the images, all the videos that you have, actually you are putting yourself, you are exposing yourself to an unnecessary risk, as you will not be able to control what is going to be served. Remember that MMP does not check the content of the ad. It only reports the number of impressions and clicks based on the number of calls done by the trackers used. So if the trackers are used with other creatives, you don't know that. And they could be playing tricks like hidden ads, like we said before, and you will not notice. So what you should do is you should hire your own ad server. You should have the creatives on your side, hosted on your ad server. And instead of sending the creatives to the partners, what you should do is send them tags. So in this way, you have the control on your hands. You can change the creatives whenever you want. You don't need to ask them to perform those changes. And more importantly than this, you'll be able to measure incrementality, because by having creatives on your side, you can decide what the user is going to see. And you can also take that chance, to show some UNICEF or other charity or other campaign ads that are not related to your campaign, and make the comparison of results between two different groups. So let me now introduce you to my friend James. So James is the performance campaign manager of an app advertiser from the entertainment sector. So actually James is among the lucky ones. He has seen some important growth in these last few weeks and because of all the lockdown. And here he's sharing with us the results that he had from January to March. So we can see here the average, and in the last column we can see that he's having quite a good ROI from these two partners, a nice amount of conversions. And what happened, in the end of March, his management wants to drive faster growth, because he knows that the CPMs, are decreasing. There is more inventory available. People are more interested in apps of this sector. So the management has asked him to be more aggressive and to get more conversions. So what James did was to start working with partner number 3. Okay, and these are the results that he has got in April. So if you compare the number of total conversions that he got in April with the average that he was having in the first 3 months of the year, there was an important decrease, right? And actually, if we look at the results of partner 3, the ROI is much better than the other 2, as well as the CPA is much lower. So this seems to be a partner that is giving great results to this brand, right? Luckily, James was measuring incremental metrics. He was using his ad server to host his creatives and send tags to each one of the partners that he was working with. So he was protecting himself against some of the tricks that we have already mentioned before. And what he did was to do to divide the audience in two. So 95% of that audience, James was showing the regular creative of his campaign, and 5% was seeing a placebo creative. And instead of taking a decision for the following month and decide how much budget is going to be attributed to each one of these partners, he did not take into account only this information, but he also had the incremental KPIs to help him decide better. So what he saw was that in the end, the ROI of this partner was not this great result, but the incremental ROI is minus 80%. Though, so basically, this means that the money spent on this partner was practically wasted because the ROI is negative. So they are paying more than what they are getting from this partner. And actually, partner one and partner two, they still have positive incremental ROIs. So as you can see, it's a total different decision. You know, if he has only used the data that he had before. So anyway, James wants to understand why absolute numbers of partner three are good, but incremental are not so much. So he has looked to some more information. He was taking a look at this, that the performance of the different channels and partners. As you can see, there is some increase of number of sales that we see from month 2 and month 3. Also, the total number of sales for month 4 is also increased. But what we see here, when partner 3 started activity, we see that the organic number of sales has decreased, okay, when it was expected to increase. And also, it seems that partner 1 and partner 2 had less conversions. So if we actually take a look only to the numbers of sales of the partners, so excluding the organic, here is clearer that there was a quite relevant decrease from partner 1 and partner 2. So it seems obvious that partner 3 is cannibalizing the activity of other channels, right? So why is it? Why could it be cannibalizing? Then there could be actually different reasons for that. So one of them is that possibly partner 3 is playing tricks. We don't know if in this case they were playing tricks. It's normal that they have more attributions from the MMP. But there are also other possibilities. The audience that they were targeting maybe was very similar to the audience that was converting organically. So in this case, it's normal that some of the users that supposedly were going to be considered organic are now considered users that have converted thanks to the activity of partner 3. But there could also be also other reasons. Simply, partner 3 could be using ad types and sizes that have low incremental performance. So actual incremental metrics can also help us with that. So it's not only to see what each partner is bringing us, but it can also tell you what variables are working the best. So we have seen in many campaigns that the 320 by 50, for instance, it's one size that normally does not have a good incremental ROI, while other sizes do better in that sense. It happens the same with images, and well, actually you can check. Well, we have here these variables that are included, but actually you can apply this same logic to many other variables that you have available. And incremental metrics are also can be very important for retargeting campaigns, for you to measure also the efficiency of your retargeting campaigns. So we have seen that measuring these incremental KPIs has helped James a lot to acquire new users and to take good decisions. But if you want to know how effective your retargeting campaigns are, you can, for instance, launch a campaign to help users that have added products to the cart but have not completed the purchase to do it. You can show them an ad to a part of those users, and later use incremental KPIs to understand which engagement is happening because of the campaign and which would have happened anyway, right? Because some of those users that have not converted on the same day that they have added products to the carts, they can by themselves, they can still buy the products on the following day or on the following week. And some others don't. But if you show them ads, maybe part of them will. So by measuring incremental metrics, you can compare the two groups and see if the money that you are investing in your retargeting campaign was worth to get those extra conversions that you are seeing thanks to your campaign. So basically, we can say that the incremental metrics, they help you to measure the real impact on business of your marketing actions, okay, because it only counts conversions that are consequence of your actions. It can help you to identify inefficiencies in the media buying. So you can see that some creatives are performing better than another, or some ad sizes, or some type of creatives. You can avoid wasting your budget by applying it to marketing actions that have conversions that are attributed to it, but conversions that would have happened anyway. And also you are contributing to a better industry because you are not incentivizing players that are doing tricks, because unfortunately many advertisers that are not aware of their partners playing tricks, they keep giving them good budgets because they see good results from them, and so they have the incentive to keep with those tricks. But if you are able to identify that on your side, you are also contributing to an industry that's going to be better, and that unfortunately today is very affected by fraud. So basically, remember that if you are growing now, if you are one of the lucky ones, it's more important than ever to be effective, to take advantage of this opportunity that incremental metrics give to us. And if on the other hand you have seen an important decrease, an important drop on your activity due to these circumstances, well, just take the time to analyze your data and prepare your strategy as the best way you can. So when everything goes back to normal, which hopefully it will not take so much time, you can come back strong, and recover part of the activity that you are not having now. So basically, that's it. What we have to show you. So right now we have some time for questions. Remember that you have the chat. Okay, so let me go to the chat. Okay. Okay, so first, this is a good question. If the platform offers free placebo ads to calculate incremental metrics, so what happens is when you are serving these charity ads that I was talking about, yeah, it's true that you have that cost, but well, anyway, it should be seen as an investment, right? Because with that cost that you have, you are able to, let's say, to audit your partners, and if the money that you are spending is being spending in an effective way. So it has to be an investment. But there's actually an alternative. There's also a possibility of using ghost ads. We actually have them available in our platform. So in ghost ads, the advantage is that you don't really have to spend that money because we are not serving the ads, and we can still measure incrementality if we are receiving all of the conversions, and not only the conversions that are attributed to us. Nevertheless, with ghost ads, we can only measure our own results. I mean, the result of Mediasmart. So you will not be able to measure the other partners. So you cannot compare and see which one is more effective. Okay, and also this is based in algorithms and predictive, artificial intelligence that works very well in many cases, but it's always better if you have the real numbers, and if you have the possibility of spending a little part of your budget serving the charity ads. I would recommend that, because it's for sure very worth. You can recover that small investment very easily. Okay. Yeah. So actually, sorry, I can already, now that I'm not sharing the presentation, I can already turn on the video. So more questions. Okay, let's see. We got that. Okay, so I'm already using, an anti-fraud tool with my MMP. Do I still need incremental metrics? Okay, that's a good question. So incremental metrics, I would not say that it's a methodology to fight fraud, but it does protect you from fraud as well. Actually, it protects not only from fraud, but also from other kind of inefficiencies. So we saw the case of partner 3 that was suddenly generating fantastic results, and there was something wrong, as we could see by drilling down the data. Okay, but it's not, it's possible that they were not doing anything wrong. Maybe they were just using 320 by 50 ad sizes, and that ad size is a size that does not, give good incremental results. And if it was that, there was nothing wrong with the activity. It's just the way that attribution works was attributing them more conversions. But you could see that because you were using incremental metrics. You would not be able to see that if you were just using your anti-fraud tool. But anyway, they are totally complementary. I mean, you can use both of them. You don't need just to use one. Actually, there are many ways of fraud out there, and so the better protected you are, the better it will be for you. So if possible, you can keep with your anti-fraud tool, and at the same time measure incremental metrics in parallel. Okay. Okay, let me check more. Okay, you still have, let's wait for one more minute if people want to have any other question. Okay, can you measure results for retargeting campaigns? Yeah, as I said during the presentation, yeah, definitely incremental metrics can help you not only with acquisition, but also with retargeting. So yes, you can, if you want to make a test, you know, for a group of users that has done one action but has not completed the whole funnel, has not completed a purchase, has not completed, you know, to book a flight or an hotel, or has not bought any product, you can, you know, create your audiences for those people that have your app installed or that have performed one action that is previous to the purchase, for instance. And to that group, you show an ad. To other part of that group, you keep them aside, so you can compare how many of your users that are seeing the ad have converted because of the ad, or have converted just organically. You know, so it can perfectly help you with your retargeting campaigns. Does anyone has any other question? Okay, so anyway, you have our contacts, our emails, and you also have the Slack channel to contact us. And so we will be very happy to hear from you if you have any question, any comment, you know, any feedback about this session. We are happy to have it. So yeah, just let us know. And I think that's it. So before I pass on to Adrian to finish the session, so thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you have enjoyed the session. And I also hope that everything is going to finish fast, and please keep safe. Okay, thank you very much. So, Adrian.
Thank you very much, Tiago. I think we stuck to our word. I think it was a session mostly based on incrementality rather than you know, being an infomercial about us. But it's I do think it's a good time to think about incremental metrics. You know, going forward, and you know, for those categories that are growing, measure how much of the growth is you know, delivered by what. I think it's incrementality overall is you know, it's a good time to switch to it. Like Tiago said, we are you have our emails in your screens. We have a Slack channel if you want to join and you have any follow-up questions. And another piece of housekeeping: if you want a copy of this presentation, you know, we can send it to you as well. It's going to be available. And finally, like I said before, we're going to do another session for location-based campaigns. You know, whether obviously there's a big part of what we do that is measures incrementality in app promotion. There's another part that also measures incremental metrics in other, for campaigns that are of other nature. One of them is location-based campaigns, right? Drive to store. And in these days, obviously, drive to store is there's no store, right? There will come a time, you know, that they will reopen. But in the meantime, does this mean that location-based campaigns are essentially dead? Well, not so much. It's a good time, and we'll cover that. You know, to take advantage of the fact that people are staying home, even though it sounds counterintuitive. But we'll talk about that more in the next session. So those of you that attend to this one, thank you very much again, and you know, you can hear from us soon on the next session. If nothing else, like Tiago says, please stay safe, follow the recommendations of whatever your local authorities are telling you. Stay safe, and thanks for attending. Goodbye.
All right, thank you very much.